We're talking bad endings and history repeating itself. We're going to get into it. Let's get it. Welcome. First of all, welcome. This is Unsolicited Perspectives. I'm your host, Bruce Anthony, here to lead the conversation in important events and topics that are shaping today's society. Join the conversation and follow us wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for our video podcasts, YouTube exclusive contents, and our YouTube membership. Rate, review, like, comment, share. Share with your friends, share with your family, hell, even share with your enemies. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about bad endings in entertainment, Turning Point deciding to do their own halftime show, and a YouTube exclusive talking about male friendships. But that's enough of the intro. Let's get to the show. You know, there is nothing worse in your life than being invested in something and all of your heart and time and attention, to be invested in something and the ending is sour. Now, I'm not talking about relationships in life. I'm not talking about work. I'm not talking about working out. I'm not talking about any of those other stuff. I'm talking purely entertainment. Now, where is this all coming from? As you guys know, I am a huge comic book fan. I wrote my own comic book years ago. Never got published because me and the artist didn't necessarily agree on how the character should look. It is still somewhere in my notes. It's 20 years old by now, but maybe one day, hey, with AI and stuff like that, I can do my own comic book. So maybe I'll do that. Be another one of my side projects that I love to do. But I'm a huge comic book fan. And as y'all know, this summer, I went to go see Superman. Raved about it. Loved Superman. Love anything that has to do with Superman. The only time I haven't loved something that had to do with Superman was when Dean Cain played Superman. Just didn't like that show. Come to find out, because I just don't like that person. So I guess I just read, like, this person is not a good person. So I don't know why he's playing Superman. And that came off on the screen. I just didn't watch it. But going back to comic books, I'm in love with DC. I'm in love with Marvel. The movies, the TV shows, like I said, I haven't read comic books in quite some time, but when I do get comics, I like to read them. And there have often been times where I've been disappointed at this long overarching story that ends poorly. And you guys all know what I'm talking about. I've never seen the show Lost, but I heard the ending was really bad. It's tough to invest yourself in something that they build, and it ends poorly. But once again, why am I bringing this all up? Because just a couple of days ago, I watched the season finale of Peacemaker. Now, Peacemaker is in the second season. It's a DC produced show on HBO Max, whatever that app is now. They didn't change the name so many times. I don't know what it is, but that app that got HBO shows on it, it's on that, okay? Produced, directed, by James Gunn. You know him as the director from the Guardians of the Galaxy. He did one of the Suicide Squads. He did the new Superman movie. He did Creature Commandos. He did the first Peacemaker season 1 that I really enjoyed. And this season, I've really been enjoying the story behind Peacemaker. It's been a really well-told story. And spoiler alert, I'm going to spoil some of the story. The main character played by John Cena, who has really grown astronomically as an actor. Like, he acted his ass off this season and brought me to tears, which doesn't take much because I am a crier, but still brought me to tears with some of his performances. In the first season, you learn that he killed his brother when he was younger by accident because his dad was an asshole and made them like fight for entertainment for his racist friends. His dad was a legit racist, right? And in the first season, his dad is the main villain and he has to kill his father. Okay, so we're going to the second season. He's still dealing with that guilt of not really having any family, but his family is this group of people that had him under surveillance, was supposed to be watching him, and then helped him fight off this big like alien invasion in season 1, which, okay, his father wasn't the main villain. His father was just part of the villain. So He's developed these friendships, but he still misses his family, his biological family. He has this dimension portal in his home that was bequeathed to him by his father. His father had discovered it. We later find out that John Cena's character, Peacemaker, helped his father like work it or whatever. And it leads a different dimension. And he finds an alternate dimension that is his dad's a nice guy and his brother is still alive. And he's not this criminal. He's this celebrated hero. And he loves being in this dimension. Later on, in about episode 6, right, you find out this was a Nazi dimension. This was dimension in which the Nazis won World War II. And so there are no people of color anywhere around. He doesn't notice this because, part of it is he's just so happy to have these great relationships with the relationship he always wanted with his father, the relationship that he wished he had with his brother if his brother hadn't died, that he's oblivious to his surroundings, which happens, right? It happens. But also white blindness. It happens when, you always expect to be the majority in your circle. It's not uncommon to not see anything else but people that look like you. So I give it the benefit of the doubt. So it's this great story that's told throughout 7 episodes, and you get to the season finale, and it's a big fart. Like it was longer. It was almost twice as long, and it was completely different to what I had been watching this last 7 episodes. And I was like, good God, the show has been so great. How could it end poorly? And it got me thinking to times that I've been invested in entertainment and it just ended poorly. I don't know how many seasons of How I Met Your Mother there was. I binged watched it. I caught on to it probably like the 7th season. I think it did 8 or 9 seasons. And I binged up all those seasons like over a summer, half-hour shows. Binged and then watched the final season as it was going on. And the ending was a big fart to me. Another big fart, right? I was just like, this wasn't the ending that I wanted. Why did you build up, tell the story, and then just walk away from the key parts of the story that you were doing to tell this story that you said that you were going to tell at the end from the beginning? And what I mean by that is sometimes you start a story and you're creating something. And as a creative writer myself, I always start with the ending first. I want to know where I'm going, how this is going to end. And I want to know the ending and I want to know the beginning. Those are the 2 definitive points, right? This is where we're going to start. This is where we're going to end. And then I fill in the rest to get me to that point. Now, supposedly this is what they did with How I Met Your Mother. But if I see the ending, it's kind of changing a little bit as I'm filling in the filler. I'm talking about as a creative writer, because the way the story is going, let me keep on filling it, but that ending might not work for this great thing that I've created in the middle here. Then I change up, you switch up, right? How I Met Your Mother was a prime example. They had an idea of an overarching story to get to the end, and they crafted it well, except for the fact that they had weaved in so many different storylines throughout the 8, 9 seasons that who the person ended up with wasn't the person that we wanted to end up with. They actually created such a great character for the wife that we wanted him to end up with the wife. Spoiler alert, he didn't. We want him to end up with the wife. And he didn't end up with the wife. He ended up with somebody else. And it was just a big fart at the end. Man of Steel, Superman, right? The Superman movie that came out in 2013. Love that movie. It is still today my favorite Superman movie because it was everything that I ever wanted in the movie, except for the end where he kills Zod. Now, I know that they wrote it in the script like he really had no choice. I didn't feel like there was much of a struggle. Superman does not kill unless he absolutely has to. Superman could have found another way. It was jarring. It was abrupt ending. And I remember walking out of that movie just like, oh man, that didn't end well. I didn't really like it. Sopranos is another example. David Chase trying to be creative, and just the screen goes to black. Everybody calling their HBO station during that time, like, what the hell is going on? I didn't see the final scene. No, you saw it. That was the final scene. That's what he had in mind. That's not what we wanted. We wanted a conclusion to the story. We wanted to know what happens to Tony Soprano. Does he go to jail? Does he live happily ever after? Does he die in the end? That's just not the way to do it. Hey, another prime example, the whole complete season 5 of The Wire. Throw it all in the trash. Season 1, 2, 3, and 4 are iconic, great shows, great seasons. And in that season 5, I'm just like, David Sampson. Like, what are we doing here? And that's how I feel about this season finale of Peacemaker. Episodes 1 through 7, chef's kiss. They were so well done. They had me invested. They had me smiling. They had me laughing. They had me crying. They had me in thought. James Gunn is not only a hell of a director, but a hell of a writer, because he can make you have so many emotions from what he's created. And in the end, don't get me wrong, the whole episode wasn't straight trash. There were really some sentimental moments that were touching, but it felt like completely different from what we had been seeing all season long. And it kind of wrapped up stuff, but didn't really wrap up stuff. And he said it's supposed to lead into what the ending was. It's supposed to lead into the next Superman movie that's coming out in 2 years, Man of Tomorrow. And I'm like, bruh, you might need to take a break, right? Because he wrote Superman, Creature Commandos, and Peacemaker, the two television series and the movie all in 1 year. And I'm like, hey, Superman was great, Creature Commandos was great, Peacemaker was great until the end. And you want to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. Like, not everything you write is going to be great. I've produced a lot of these shows. This is the 265th episode of Unsolicited Perspectives. That's not including the YouTube exclusives, the after hours when I was doing Talking Straight-ish, the messy that's on the membership. Like, that's not including all the content. Look, some of y'all out here listening and watching and like, I really love Unsolicited Perspectives, but I can openly admit that not every show is a hit, right? There are some duds. There have been some dud interviews. I look at the first interviews that I did and God, I wish that I was a better interviewer in the beginning. I'm better now, but I wish. So you grow, right? You grow, you mature, you get better. Not everything that you put out as far as content is concerned is going to be good. And I want to give James Gunn the benefit of the doubt. However, you don't want your ending to be bad. And I learned this when I was a creator for entertainment for others, when I was writing the wrestling shows. I was a marketing and creative director. It was my responsibility to write the show. And people don't understand when you say write the show for wrestling, what does that entail? Is it a rundown of just the matches? You could do just that. You could do just that. But if you're telling a never-ending story, it's an episodic story, right? That really never has an ending, because the ending would be the end of the company. What happens is you have this company that's running, and you have these individual stories called storylines that you're writing. So you have a beginning, a start, a middle, an escalation, and an end. This is creative writing 101, okay? I would always start with, I want to match up these performers with each other, okay? That's first. This is where I want it to end. I want to get to this point. I need to find an initial start to create heat. Heat is interest, right? Interest in this storyline. So I need that spark to help me get to the end. And I need to continuously keep that spark going, keep that fire going, so that when we get to the end and there's this big blow off, there's a satisfying feeling at the end. Either the good guy wins or the bad guy wins in the end and keeps on fighting, and then eventually he'll get his comeuppance. I didn't always meet the mark on the ending. Sometimes it comes with a thud, and I get it. But the most important thing that you gotta have when you have people invested is a strong ending. If the ending has to change as you're going along the way, that's fine. Your ending doesn't have to be set in stone, but you have to know where you're going. And I'm sure James Gunn knew where he was going. And up until the 8th episode, episodes 1-7, he was on the right track. Just the way he ended, disappointing. I'm still looking forward to everything that he's going to be producing. You got Green Lanterns, who's supposed to be like this true detective cosmic show. That's going to be dope. If it's anything like Penguin, which is what you're hoping because of the actors that's going to be involved with this particular project, you're like, okay, because Penguin was a damn good, talk about great ending. Penguin was a great show that never missed on any of its episodes. And the ending, though very heartbreaking, was a very, very good and fitting ending. That's the thing. The ending has to be fitting to what you've built up to. That's what it is. And it's all forms of entertainment. If you're going to come out with a last album, I remember Jay-Z coming out with his final album, the Black Album, which was good. It was good, right? But the final track on the album, I don't know if that should have been the final track. Allure, yes, should have been maybe the final track. I don't know. But like the ending of anything, a book, a CD, a comic book, a television series, a movie, especially in a movie, like you're going to force me to sit down for 2 to 3 hours. The ending needs to be on point. You know what one of the greatest endings in all of cinema is? The Godfather. The Godfather. Everybody always talks about the baptism scene, right? Where he takes out all the members of the Five family. And that is great, right? That is cinema. Okay. Absolutely fantastic. However, the actual final scene is when Kay, his wife, asked him if Michael killed Connie's husband. And he's like, yo, don't ask me about my business. She's like, I need to know the answer. He's like, don't ask me about my business. And she's insistent. He was like, okay, this one time, I'm gonna let you ask me about my business. She says, did you kill him? He looks her dead in the eye and lies. No, I didn't. She walks out and she turns around. Clemenza, Neri, Rocco, the new capo regime, kissing the hand of the new Don, and the door closes because you saw the evolution of Michael Corleone from this kid, this war hero, to this new cold Don. It's the best ending that I've ever seen in a movie. You know what movie ending that I didn't really like? Departed. Didn't like Departed. It was too much going on in the ending, and then the ending was kind of anticlimactic. It kind of was, right? So endings matter. And I know some of y'all out there are feeling me about, man, I invested all this time and I just feel unsatisfied by the ending. And I'm not talking about sexually, because I know some women out there are going to be saying, yeah, I feel that way almost every day. And I feel for you. You know what I'm saying? I feel for you. I don't know nothing about that, but I feel for you. But in entertainment, God, it sucks so much when you've invested time and effort and the ending just doesn't match what you've gone through. And unfortunately, James Gunn missed the mark on the ending of Peacemaker. I still recommend watching the show. Season 1 and season 2, I gave y'all the premise, but there's some good acting in this. It's a good show. Graphic, both violence-wise and sexually, so not for kids. And this is going to shock you a little bit, but it's a good show. And it's a good show to watch John Cena, a wrestler turned actor, but he's an actor now, ladies and gentlemen. Like Batista, like Dave Batista, who you could say is a thespian. The Rock, on the other hand, he ain't no thespian. But you know, Dave Batista, John Cena has now entered in that conversation as being a thespian. He's an actor now, and he brings it. I recommend the show. Just be prepared when you get to that final episode to be severely disappointed, just like I was. Ladies and gentlemen, the conservative right and MAGA are so upset with Bad Bunny being the Super Bowl halftime show for the 2026 Super Bowl that Turning Point, you know, that group that Charlie Kirk founded, has stated that they're going to create their own all-American halftime show to directly protest the NFL's decision to feature Bad Bunny as the 2026 Super Bowl halftime performer. This move by the conservative group is a flashpoint in the ongoing culture wars and has fueled considerable debate about the direction of American pop culture at major events. Now, the point, me and my sister already talked about Bad Bunny at halftime. She was very excited to talk about it. This is something different. I know we're doing back-to-back shows talking about Bad Bunny. This is from a different perspective because this came out after we filmed the show and posted the show, that Turning Point has decided to do their own halftime show to counteract that. And I'll get into the details of that in a minute. But I just want to talk about American pop culture, specifically American pop culture at major events. So let's first define what American pop culture is. American pop culture is in the popular aspects of American culture. It's pretty self-explanatory, right? What are some examples of American pop culture? Well, in my lifetime, it's been several things. The Batman movies is American pop culture. Michael Jackson is American pop culture. Boy bands is American pop culture. Hip-hop music is American pop culture. Italian food is American pop culture. Chinese food is American pop culture. Mexican food is American pop culture. You see, well, barbecue. But I don't know if barbecue is universally as loved as Italian, Chinese, and Mexican food. The reason why I say that is because how far do you have to go to get to a barbecue restaurant? They're almost like specialties. And it's maybe because I live in an area that isn't like super barbecue. I live in the DMV area. Maybe it's different when you live in like Texas or the Midwest or the Carolinas, right? Maybe it's a little different. Maybe there's a barbecue spot almost every other block, like there's a Chinese food spot almost every other block. You can get pizza so many different places. You can get, there are so many different Mexican restaurants, like all over the place, all over the place. So I would say, is barbecue American pop culture? I don't know. But you see, like, I just finished talking about entertainment. You know, there are television shows like Game of Thrones is American pop culture. Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. I didn't watch that stuff, but Star Wars, you know, that's American pop culture. Things that Americans overwhelmingly deem as popular. You know what American pop culture is? Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny is American pop culture. You know why? Because first of all, he's American. We've already established he's American. He's not white, but he's American. That's the point I'm trying to make. He's American and he's ultra popular. Like, as far as musical acts, American musical acts, it's Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Bad Bunny, in no particular order, right? It is those three are the top. That's American pop culture. So the idea that Turning Point would say, we're going to create our own all-American halftime show that focuses on American pop culture. What damn pop culture are they talking about? All right, so Turning Point USA announces alternative Super Bowl halftime event for February 8th, 2026, billing it as a patriotic counter to the NFL's official show headlined by a global Latin superstar, Bad Bunny. Before I read any further, I once again have to reiterate, Bad Bunny is American. He's American. Isn't being American patriotic? What type of patriotic counter would counter something that's American? I, I I'm having a hard time figuring it out, but don't worry. Turning Point defined it for me. The group's messaging emphasizing faith, family, and freedom, inviting the public to help select performers and music genres, yet details about artists and broadcasts remain undisclosed. The announcement follows backlash from conservative commentators and politicians, including Donald Trump and House Speaker Mike Johnson, who argued Bad Bunny's Spanish language repertoire and political stances do not reflect the majority of American viewers. Okay. They have one thing right. Spanish language repertoire does not reflect the majority of American viewers, because the majority of American viewers probably are not bilingual, because by and large here in this country, we are linguistically dumb. Sorry, we are. It's not a flex that we can only speak one language. You go to other countries, they can speak their language and typically broken or fluent multiple other languages. We're the dumb ones, not everybody else. It's not a flex that we can only do one thing, not even well, but that we can only do one thing, okay? Political stances, a majority of Americans, see, this is the thing that's crazy. And yes, Republicans do have the House, Senate, and presidency. So you would look at that and be like, well, that's the majority of Americans must want their policies. No, this is not the case, right? Because Trump didn't win the majority of the American people. He won the majority of the voters, but there were millions, tens of millions of people who did not vote. This isn't what the majority of Americans want, their political stances. And they're finding out that less and less people actually want their stances, because people voted for Trump basically on the racial lines. But I'm not going to get into that, because I'm not going to make a racial show. I'm going to make a conservative versus everybody else show. People voted along racial lines, but realizing that they not like us. Rich white folks are not like everybody else. It's a little bit differently. So the idea that they're creating a halftime show that's going to be pointed towards the majority of Americans is not true. It's not true. You know why? Because the majority of Americans like Bad Bunny. Who are they going to get? Lee Greenwood? I mean, that's what me and my sister was talking about. That's what Mike Johnson offer it up. Who are they going to get? Kid Rock? Kid Rock is nowhere close to Bad Bunny. It's not close. Who are they going to get? Even if they got a who's list of all the country music singers, it's still not touching Bad Bunny's cultural relevance in America and globally. All right. So Bad Bunny is not tripping off of this. He's responded to the criticisms with humor, highlighting the significance of Latino representation and inviting viewers to learn Spanish. You know why? Because linguistically, we're dumb. And so the controversy around cultural identity, language, and this perceived Americanness of the event, with political divides surfacing over what kind of entertainment represents the country. Let me explain to people once again what this country is. This country is a melting pot. It is people from all different walks of life, different countries, that bring in their ethnicity, their language, their food, their culture, and we adopt it all. And that's America. America is not this bland whiteness that conservatives keep trying to say is America. Going back to my food analogy, America is Italian food, Mexican food, Chinese food, soul food. That's Americana. What they're trying to describe as this bland, idyllic 1950s America didn't even exist in the 1950s. It existed in their own, taking a little page from Peacemaker, their own dimension of America. That's where it existed. It didn't exist in the country at large. They just pushed all the things that they didn't want to see away from their presence. That's what they did. And I'm going to get into that in a few minutes because this kind of concept is not new. The concept of everybody else is doing something cool over there or is progressing further than what we would like. So we're going to push this out of our presence and create our own little thing over here, which we deem as true America. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about conservatives are upset. Bad Bunny going to be doing a halftime show. They figure it's an American sport. It represent America. Once again, Puerto Rico is part of America. Bad Bunny is American. Your argument is stupid, but okay. I don't know what artist, but Turning Point's going to give people the opportunity to vote and choose the genres and artists that they feel like is Americana. And they're going to have their own separate thing. And this is not new. Like I said, this is something that's been repeated over time in history. What are some examples of this? Bruce, what are you talking about? When have there been times where there's been a progression of marginalized groups to the point that conservative or white people decide to create their own thing and push everybody away? Where there was white flight and the suburbanization of the 20th century, where minorities, especially Black Americans, moved into urban neighborhoods and made cultural and economic gains, many white Americans responded by relocating to the suburbs, often facilitated by federal incentives and policies that explicitly excluded minorities from these areas. 20th century, but what we're really talking about, pretty much after World War II, right? All those Black GIs, even though they were denied their GI Bill, came back, started working in factories, started moving into nice neighborhoods. And in those nice neighborhoods, there were white people that decided to move out. White flight is what they called it. But not only that, to the suburbs. That's the reason why we have suburbs away from major cities, right? It's the reason why we have them, right? I'm living right now in a suburb of DC. I'm living in an area that was once a thriving Black area that the government decided to bulldoze and build a Pentagon over, or they bulldoze and build airports over, right? This has happened before. So when you hear people talk about American and patriot, what they're really talking about is their version of this idyllic vision of America in which they only exist in their own existence, and everybody that doesn't look and act like them is on the outside. But is it just housing? No, it's not just housing. Popular music and dance spaces in the early to mid 20th century, as jazz and later rock and roll, which are rooted in Black musical innovations, became popular. Some white communities established their own venues, radio stations, and social clubs that restricted entry or tailored music programming to only white patrons. White jazz clubs or white rock and roll movements emerged from these genres, crossed over to mainstream popularity. Also country music. Right? So they took American pop culture what's popular in America, and they said, we don't want to commingle with these minorities. So what we're going to do is go ahead and create our own separate spaces away from them and have our own artists, and we're going to make our own thing. Oh my goodness. You remember when rock and roll was rock and roll? Like what type of rock and roll? And the rock and roll in the white clubs or the rock and roll in the black clubs? Because once again, this was black music first. Uh, what about like public housing and education? Well, whites created exclusive public housing projects and pushed for school districting and private school segregation academies, which urban institutions became more integrated and more popular with minority groups, often due to legal desegregation efforts. Federal policies incentivized suburban development explicitly for white families, leaving minorities behind in the cities. So this was also part of the white flight, but this was also the government sponsoring this white flight. Basically saying, hey, look, white people, if y'all not comfortable living around these minorities, we're going to create a safe space. And it's going to be over here, away from everybody else. So you don't have to participate with them. You can have your own thing. And let's not forget exclusions from professions and higher education. Rules at universities and professional institutions limited minority admissions, job opportunities, and promotions. Even after legal barriers were reduced, informal practices and social networks among elites ensured ongoing underrepresentation and pipeline exclusion for minorities in elite sectors. Kind of like if you are a legacy, your family went to Harvard and Yale, you're almost guaranteed a spot. Whether you're qualified or not, you're almost guaranteed a spot. So, what Turning Point is trying to do is nothing new. As soon as I read it, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I've seen that before. I've seen it before. This is America. Turning Point doing this is almost what's popular with a certain group of people in America throughout the history of time, which would make it American pop culture. No, I'm just saying it would look, it doesn't surprise me. And if they want to do their own thing, that's cool. But the idea that they are going to hijack the Super Bowl halftime show, good luck with your little side project. You know, there was a time where somebody tried to hijack the Super Bowl halftime show. In living color, I do not remember what year, I want to say it was 1990 or 91, decided to do a halftime show. Everybody turned from the Super Bowl to watch that halftime show. The next year, the NFL decided to have Michael Jackson perform at the halftime show, and that's how we got the halftime show. You know what Michael Jackson was? The most popular artist at that time. He is Americana because he's American and he was popular, kind of like Bad Bunny. So Turning Point, good luck to you and what will be a bland show that I will absolutely not be watching. And I'm curious to see who your audience chooses to be the artists and music that represents America, because I can assuredly let you know that all of those people and you would be wrong, because what represents America is all the diversity that we have in America, the melting pot that is America. All right, guys, gonna give you guys a little treat because it still has come to my attention that people have not joined the YouTube page to see the YouTube exclusive videos, which to me is crazy, because if you listen to all of our podcasts, and you enjoy them because you're listening to all of them, then you would think that you would watch the stuff that we have on YouTube, which is absolutely not on the podcast, except for now. I'm going to give you guys more of a taste that what we have exclusively on YouTube, but not this particular episode because I'm putting it now on the podcast. So in this particular YouTube exclusive, me and my sister talk about male friendships and how society looks at male friendships and how males interact in their male or bromance relationships. So here's that episode. I hope you enjoy it. Check it out. Jay, you sent me a video on Instagram. It was earlier today. I've completely changed around the rundown and decided that we was going to talk about this because me and you disagree on this particular topic. So you sent me a video about two men that were basically the headline was something like, when I get the lick, he get the lick. Talking
It was
about
like point of view. It was two guys. It's like a wide shot. They're at a gas station and they're in very expensive cars and they're like sitting on the cars and chopping it up and having a good time, right? And the caption is like POV. I have that one homie that when I get rich, he can have whatever. That's what it says. Yes.
And you said your response to that was
that some of y'all just need to date your homeboy and leave the rest of us alone. Like it, and I'm sorry, but you're not going to convince me, period, that there are not dudes out there in love with their homeboy.
Okay, I'm not disputing there are closeted men out there. That would be a terrible dispute. So no, I'm not disputing that there are closeted men out there. But the fact that you automatically put it on, like if I get on, for instance, for me, if I get a lick, ladies and gentlemen, is coming to a lot of money. If I get a lick,
or a robbery is also what a lick is.
Yeah, in this context, I'm talking about a lot of money, which could have been from a robbery, but won't because I'm not going to jail. But if I get a windfall, everybody around me that's close to me, my close people, get a windfall. That would mean my immediate family, mom, dad, you, and our brother, go get some cheddar. Then I've got three close friends and one friend that was really, really close, but I still love him. And even though we're not as close as we used to be, if he ever needed me, I'd be right there for him, right? So it's four people, one female, three dudes. They go get some bread.
Yeah, that's not what the post said.
The post said one particular person, but maybe they only have one person that they real close to, and that's their homeboy.
And that is the person that they're in love with.
I don't think
the post said that if this person gets on, they have that one homie.
Right, the one homie
that can have whatever.
Yeah, the one homie.
It's not like if I get on, the whole crew get on. Like if I win in, we all win in. That's not what it said. It says one homie that can have whatever. Right. Immediately what I thought in my head was T.I.'s, you can have whatever you like. That was like, and it's like you taking this one homie shopping, y'all getting matching Benzes. Like, come on, like. There are some dudes out there that I promise you, not even closeted, do not think they're gay, but they are in love with their homeboy and they might not even realize it.
Okay. Saying in love is really that you're being, let's stop being semantic. Okay. Let's be real. Stop saying in love. Say they love, and there's different variations of love. I have love for my friends. I got love for my family. I have love. No,
romantically. That is what I'm saying. I'm saying in love. If it was me, and I got on somehow, I don't know, right?
You say you don't know.
I don't know. There's a myriad of ways that I could blow up. We don't know.
We don't know.
Will I be famous or infamous? Who knows? Nobody knows.
Both.
Probably.
Yeah.
Be famous for being infamous. But like, knowing me. But like, obviously, yes, I'm gonna take care of my family and my friends. I don't have one homegirl that I'm like, you can have whatever you want. You can have whatever you like. Like, that's not.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Your absolute best friend could literally have whatever they want if you got
No,
on.
I would probably invest in something. I would set up trust funds for the kids' colleges. Like, I
But
would
if
do
they
things
came
like
to you for
that.
certain things, you would give it to them
Yeah, but
if you had it.
I'm not broadcasting that. Like, I'm not creating a whole post
Okay,
to be
so
like,
now,
hey, you
all right.
can
So now we're
have
talking
whatever
about.
you want.
So now we're talking about different things. You are saying, yeah, I would absolutely do that. I just wouldn't broadcast it. And maybe
No, I
some people.
wouldn't. It wouldn't be exclusive to that one person.
They're not saying that they wouldn't put everybody on. What they're saying is there's only one person that can have whatever they want.
Yeah, the love of their life.
No, okay, maybe, but to go to that automatic assumption is
I just went by how
ridiculous.
the post was worded.
No.
I
And
read the post and I said, "Oh, you're in love with this person.
that
The
doesn't mean
person
that
you're in love
they
with. That y'all are sitting out at night at a gas station.
they're filling up their cars.
Together, going for a joint gas fill up.
No, maybe that's not. Maybe they was on their way to the club.
Yeah, to spend time together, to spend quality time.
That's what you do with your friends. That's what you do with your friends.
And that's also what you do for your soulmate.
All right. Let me tell you why I just absolutely disagree with it. I remember that me and my two boys that I've known for like 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
One of our fathers used to call us the three hard legs because every single weekend we were together. But we were together to have fun and to go out on the hunt. Love those dudes.
Yeah.
Love them. We weren't in love with each other. But if anyone had it, in other words, if anybody got on, there wouldn't have been too much that they couldn't have asked me for that I wouldn't have given for them.
Yeah, but it ain't. That's your two homeboys. This is not. We're not talking about no throuple. We're talking about a couple.
But if one of the friends was gone, and it was only two of the three, it would have been the same dynamic. So that just meant it would have been one person getting on as opposed to no. See, we're arguing about two different things.
Here's the problem. No, here's why we're arguing.
Okay.
Because this is the reason why we argue, period. Is because you take everything I say and you apply it to yourself.
No, I'm not applying it to myself.
For you, this is what you've been doing this whole time.
No, I'm not applying it to myself.
For you, then it's not true.
No, I'm not applying it to myself.
You just said.
I just came
on boys.
No. Well, I'm giving you multiple analogies, right? I'm giving you multiple analogies. The fact that I'm giving you analogies about yourself. So I'm not making it about me. I'm making it about how you can't say that this one situation, clear and in effect, oh, they in love with each other. Like that's ridiculous.
All I said, I didn't say that those two particular men are in love with each other. What I said was, some of y'all need to admit that you're in love with your homeboy. Oh, and y'all just need to date and leave the rest of us alone. Because the thing of it is like, you love this man. And so every other person that you date, you terrorize because you really want to be with this other person and you can't. And you might not even know it consciously. But a lot of y'all need to start thinking about this. And I just wish, there wasn't the stigma, because a lot of female best friends end up getting together. It ain't rare. Okay. So I just wish there wasn't this stigma among men about
being gay.
About intimacy between men.
Yeah.
Because my thing is, but y'all will say everything up to y'all will do a dime so you won't snitch on your homie.
No, I won't.
The loyalty there is incomparable to anything else. I mean, you trust this dude like this. A lot of y'all are soulmates, and it don't even have to be a romantic thing, but a lot of y'all are soulmates, and it's okay to say that.
Okay, so You're making a lot of valid points, and I'll attack them one by one. Let's attack the last one.
let's just rewind that. You're making a lot of valid points. I'm gonna attack them one by one.
No, I'm not attack was not the right word. Address them. I'm going to address them
Okay.
one by one. Let's start with the latter first.
Okay.
And the latter was actually I forgot what the latter was because we was
That's
talking
y'all.
about
That'd be dudes that are soulmates. It don't
Okay.
even have to be
Okay.
romantic. Y'all
Yeah.
could just
So
be
no,
that.
that's not possible because men don't talk about anything. Everything is surface level. Nothing ever really gets that deep. Don't talk
That's
about
not
emotions or
true.
anything.
I
No,
have seen male friendships that like, just my brother, just like, and y'all.
but they don't talk about nothing.
Love each other.
Yeah, but they don't talk about nothing. It's surface
Well,
level
that's
because men don't talk about their feelings. So that's the reason why I'm saying you can't have a soulmate if you don't talk about your feelings.
again. That's why I'm saying this is a lot of. I just want to say y'all need to admit it and just start talking about it.
But you're talking about two different things. Now, are there some closeted men out there that might be in love with their homeboy? Yes. Is there some weird loyalty between men that is the quote unquote bro code?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Also, there is a emotional insecurity, emotional lack of intelligence to understand that just as you can have fun with your homeboys, you can have fun with women as well. Like women are fun. Like I got a all of my homegirls are hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Like
yeah, women are great.
Yeah, like I kick it with my homegirls and I'm like, this is just like, and also women are actually raunchier than men. Women say some off the wall stuff. Women say some off the wall stuff, and I'd be clutching my pearls because I thought my boys was nasty. My homegirls is even nastier. And so
listen closely to our brunch conversations.
Right. So I'd be kicking it with my homegirls, and I'd be like, it's like kicking it with dudes. It's the same thing. The problem is most dudes just sexualize women and don't realize, yo, you know, this woman has actually got a dope personality. Matter of fact, their personality is doper than your homeboy because your homeboy ain't talking about nothing but jokes. She got jokes over here, and you can actually have an intellectual conversation, not a conversation about who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron, or if she got a BBL or not, like actually intellectual and emotionally intellectual conversations. So there's a million and one reasons why guys have this connection with other guys that they don't have with women. Yes, there are some closeted men out there, but no, not every time a man is close to another man, does that mean he's closeted? Sometimes
I didn't say every time. I just said
the implication.
This is again an instance where you like to read more into what I said than what I actually said.
Maybe.
And I have to go back and read it to you verbatim because you already heard in your mind what you wanted to hear.
I didn't say wanted to hear anything.
I didn't say every time. I didn't say those two particular men. I'm saying
you generalized. You did generalize though.
I said they
dudes just need to date
to admit that they want to date their homeboy. Yeah,
that's a real general statement.
Yeah, it was meant to be. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. What I'm talking about is like opening up a broader conversation about intimacy between men. And I think when you have the position that, oh, men don't talk about anything, we don't talk about our feelings, we're not emotionally mature, I think it sells men short, and it continues to put you in a box where you can't grow and you can't love fully, including if that person happens to be your homeboy. But a lot of guys will never even know that they have these feelings because they'll never deeply interrogate their emotions.
Well, they don't know how.
Right.
They weren't taught to do that.
Right. So I'm saying, let's all start talking about it.
And I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that statement was real.
I'm not saying all. I just said some of them need to admit they're in love with their homeboy.
And I don't disagree with that. Some of them absolutely are. Relationships be a little too codependent. They be real codependent.
Yes.
Where
it's like they, oh, that's twin right there. That's twin. Love you, twin. Like, and y'all always together. If I don't see him, then I don't see you. Like, y'all always together. It's like, come on now. You spent y'all on the phone together, you riding together, like what? Y'all have a great relationship. And you've had one for years. It's sustained longer than any of your romantic relationships. This relationship.
But in that friendship.
Okay. I don't know. It's kind of close. It's close.
Look, I firmly admit that you have some very valid points, and you're absolutely right. Some of these men men in general need to become more emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
We as men need to work on that. I've been working on that, but I still got a whole lot of work to do. And I'm also still closed off. As much ish I'll be talking on here, I'm still really closed off. Things need to be addressed in our community. However, I just take offense to the fact that men can have close relationships and then not be deemed as something more.
I didn't say that either. I just said
you implied. It was an implication. It was the implication.
All I said was some dudes need to acknowledge that they want to date their own boy.
Yeah, that is true. Some of y'all out there.
I don't consider being gay or just not even being gay. You could just be pansexual and bisexual. I don't know. Like, it doesn't matter. It's not that's not a character flaw.
Of course
right?
not. You are who you are.
You are who you are. Like, and so I don't know. Like, I just feel like I would love to have a couple that was once just homeboys and then realized they were in love.
Yo, do you have a story like that out there, America? Please, hey, hit us up. Let us know, because we would love to have you on the show. Just talk about that evolution from homeboys to lovers, lovers and friends.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed that YouTube exclusive. I just want you guys to think about everything that I talked about on this episode. This ending needs to punctuate what this episode was about in order for you to be happy with the conclusion. And the conclusion of this episode is, damn it, just be who you're going to be, number one. Number two, let people be who they're going to be. And number three, if you're a creative, make sure that ending is just as good as the beginning and just as good as the middle. The ending is important. The ending is important. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for watching. And until next time, as always, I'll holla. Whew, that was a hell of a show. Thank you for rocking with us here on Unsolicited Perspectives with Bruce Anthony. Now, before you go, don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, comment, and share our podcast wherever you're listening or watching it to it. Pass it along to your friends. If you enjoy it, that means the people that you rock will enjoy it also. So share the wealth, share the knowledge, share the noise. And for all those people that say, well, I don't have a YouTube. If you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can actually watch our video podcast and YouTube exclusive content. But the real party is on our Patreon page, After Hours Uncensored and Talking Straight-ish. After Hours Uncensored is another show with my sister. And once again, the key word there is uncensored. Those are exclusively on our Patreon page. Jump onto our website at unsolicitedperspectives.com for all things us. That's where you can get all of our audio, video, our blogs, and even buy our merch. And if you really feel generous and want to help us out, you can donate on our donations page. Donations go strictly to improving our software and hardware so we can keep giving you guys good content that you can clearly listen to and that you can clearly see. So any donation would be appreciative. Most importantly, I want to say thank you for listening and watching and supporting us. And I'll catch you next time. Audi 5000. Peace.